Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Emmie from Emmie Evolving. If this is the first time you're joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not the first time, thank you for coming back. So right now I'm going to be doing a ClairTarot reading for the 2020 abundance forecast for Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Also for you cross watchers, primarily for Libra, more than the cross watchers. All right, let me just pull some cards. I'm going to ask your collective energy what this reading is going to be about. Whew. This is intense already. This is super intense. Super intense. The sense that I'm getting is this is going to be a huge year for you. It's already begun. It's definitely already begun in a big way. A lot of tumultuous things occurring, a lot of separation, a lot of things ending, a lot of just really chaotic shifting and shuffling going on. Right at the end of the year, starting the new year, just a lot of things. And here's the thing, Libra, here's the thing. It's seeming like this is primarily your doing. I don't want to say that and have it just left at a feeling of, oh, so you're saying it's my fault. No, I'm saying that it's time for you to acknowledge that the root of the things that go wrong, things that get messed up in your life, really has to do with the imbalance within the Libra scale. Okay, the Libran scale is not calibrated. It hasn't been cleared out. It still carries on it a lot of the weight of so many other things in life. And so it's like when you tear something, let's put it in terms of like if you have a heavy 5-pound bowl on a scale and you want to know how much a pound of lettuce looks like, well, you're going to tear it, right? You're going to get the scale to read a zeroed out despite having a 5-pound bowl on it. It's like that. You keep using that. Is it tear? Is it pronounced some other way? You keep clearing out the weight without removing the burden. And so you're really skewed. And it's not that you want to it's not that you want to have a shitty life or intentionally have shitty things happen. Who wants that? Nobody. If we're going to really be honest, nobody. But because your scale is so unbalanced without you realizing it, because you're looking at things and it says zeroed out, right? Then that's what happens without your awareness. Okay. And that's just all that's going on. That's why I'm telling you, you have to become aware that this is of your creation. Because if you can be cognitive of the fact that there's an imbalance causing you to think that whatever option you're selecting is a balanced option, then you can do the corrective work. You can take that 5-pound bowl off and begin really able to weigh things out properly. Excuse me. Okay, so here goes. Let me just shuffle this a few more times. What the fluff? Okay. Totally put those cards in the wrong way. But I hope what I'm saying made sense, Libra. This is not about pointing out how you can't do anything right. This is about pointing out the reason it seems like nothing is going right is because your equipment is not properly calibrated. All right. Here goes. It's about empowerment. That's right. That's right. I'm really loving this. I'm really, really loving this right now. So here goes. There's a lot of distortions that are going on. All of these individuals that are witnessing the distortions, the attempt to sever your ability to clearly see with both eyes. This has been going on for some time. This is a part of the activation of your crown. And I mean, you have all these splotches of red from your root chakra. It's almost as though something, and that something could be you, it could be someone else, it could be a circumstance, we don't really know, but something has been hacking away at your crown, not your crown, your root, causing you to feel like maybe you can't or don't want to survive this circumstance or this life. That maybe there's really nothing left for you here. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's a fucking lie. That is a lie. If you're going to choose to believe that, there's absolutely nothing that I can do to stop you from believing that. I don't have that kind of power or authority. But I'm not going to sit here and help you perpetuate that lie. It's a fucking lie. Okay? So Libra, let's pull some cards to clarify exactly what that means, what that card means, what it signifies for you in your journey for 2020. Because I feel like you really need as much clarity as possible, delivered in such a way that won't allow you to make excuses for why things went the way they did. It'll empower you to take accountability for yourself and therefore recognize the causations that led to the effects and choose different options that will lead to different effects. Okay, so let's see. So this, I like this. I like this. It's a little bit intense, but I like this. So this card comes out, you know, from the oceans of your consciousness. It's like you're dumping yourself out into the fire. It's like you're giving up on yourself. Allow everything to just burn. I mean, look at the apathy in that face. You know, I see nothing here that tells me you're attempting to defend your ability to see clearly, that you're doing anything proactive to make sure you continue to see clearly. And really, though, why? It's not enough for you to acknowledge that something like this is going on. We have to know why. What's gotten you to a point in your life where you feel like there's nothing left, that you would allow yourself to burn, that you would dump yourself out and allow yourself to burn? For what? Why is that? Why is that? Why is everything upside down? Where you're so imbalanced that you've allowed yourself to be buried because, yes, you're a seed, but instead of growing upwards towards the sky, towards your truth, towards the light, instead you're descending further down, not realizing that you're actually going down instead of up. There's a lot of imbalance that's occurred. And I think 2020 is the year that is gifting you with a massive shakeup, something so intense and so profound that you have no choice but to clearly see with both your eyes. And this card is telling me that this is going to happen soon. If it hasn't already happened, it's going to happen soon. Okay. So not only are you on fire like a phoenix on the rise, you are going to really speak about what needs to be spoken and dissipate that nasty tar-like energy, the really thick, really dense energies that have coated your scales in such a way that cause the imbalance. Okay. So this is what's going on. It's an imbalance. And I want you to be accountable for the events in your life, but I don't see the benefit or the health of just saying it's your fault. Well, okay, well, but I don't understand. Well, no, this is not about fault. If you don't understand, someone needs to explain to you with clarity of truth not sugarcoating, but clarity of truth about what is going on within your field and your consciousness that's causing you to have such a distorted view of actually what is actually going on. And that's what I'm trying to do, is give you a very clear understanding of what's going on. Everything's kind of been turned upside down. And because you don't know up from down at this point, you've kind of just like, well, just fuck it. If that's all there is, this is all there is. And it sucks. It sucks. And really, if you are able to see with clarity, this doesn't just look like a person that's become apathetic. This looks like a green man, and a green man represents rebirth. A green man represents growth, renewal. Now, if you look at what the green man, it tends to represent springtime, when there's growth, renewal. Okay, well, before spring is what? Winter. You're in the winter of your journey. Right now, everything seems so cold, so harsh, so devoid of any sign of life and caring and nurturing. Well, these are the cycles of life. Okay, you're in a cycle of life. And that's another thing that needs to be recognized. Libra, you go through these cycles, cycling over and over and over. That's probably why you've been feeling drained, cycling over and over and over. Now, at some point, you're going to get sick of this cycle. And I don't blame you. You need to get sick of this cycle to remove yourself from it. Sometimes it takes you really, really being sick and tired of being sick and tired for you to do something to change the cycle that you're in. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. You're not going to get a different result if you're doing the same thing over and over, right? So this is about recognizing how the patterns are playing out. This is about recognizing how you have the power to shift that pattern. Not just like, well, it's my fault. You're right. I fuck up. No, I don't need to be right. I need you to see the causation that keeps leading to the same effect. Because once you recognize what that causation is, if you modify the causation, the effect will absolutely be modified as well. That's the whole point of what I'm trying to communicate. Now, card number 14, going beyond normal. You're tired. Life has been harsh. People don't understand you. People seem to just judge you. You keep seeming to have bad luck. Every time you try, you get knocked down. And I don't blame you for feeling this way. I don't blame you for having this kind of conversation within your head. But here's what your soul is saying. The message is you have to go beyond normal. You have to hold it together on every single level for a little bit more. Control the way you think about what you're experiencing right now. Just quietly observe. The key is in the way you communicate. The key is in communication. Are you expressing your needs? Are you letting the people who actually truly care and want to help, are you letting them know what's going on inside your mind and your heart that's causing you to lash out, that's causing you to be blind with grief, blind with anger? What is anger? Unheard sadness. That's anger. Libra, if you're angry, you're sad. It's a sadness that you don't want to hear. How's anyone going to help you? You're screaming in silence. You're silently screaming. Can anyone hear any of that? And then you surround yourself with the very people who serve as an insulator, keeping that pain in. And keeping the people who actually care, who can see with clarity what's going on and want to help, keeping them out. Because you only have a finite amount of space within your consciousness, within your field of awareness. You can only pay attention to so many things before you're inundated and overwhelmed and can't pay attention any further. So when you distract yourself with all these things that don't add to your growth, that don't add to a ripening of your understanding of yourself and your journey and where all of this is leading you, the expansion that's occurring, You're still going to feel the pain of that expansion, that discomfort, that feeling of being torn apart, but you're not going to understand why. And instead of recognizing the causation that is the root of the effect that you're feeling, you're going to lash out at other people. You're going to go ahead and feel as though nothing goes right, everything goes wrong. You just mess all those negative things. You guys already know what that recording is. So many Libras have that same recording in their head and their heart. And it's time for you to choose to empower yourself. You know, it's okay to acknowledge that you have a chaotic storm within your head, that behind you is the rough seas with a storm, wanting to sink any ship of hope. And it's also okay to, at the same time as you acknowledge this, look forward to a brighter new day, to face something more beautiful than what you're coming out of. Because if all you're going to do is look at this, where you're at right now, what you're experiencing right now, what's making you feel as though this life is just has nothing left to offer you, then that's all you're going to be aware of. And little did you know, on the other side of that is something so beautiful, something much more evolved than what you thought you could evolve to after experiencing all of this. Well, what if this, okay? What if you need to experience this in order to fully understand and have gratitude for the gravity of what this is? What if that's what this is about? What if, as a Libra, your soul is the ultimate balancer, and just because the human mind can't seem to situate the scales of the human mind in such a way that has true balance instead of the illusion of balance, what if the soul knows that in order for you to fully experience life, it has to swing you from one degree of positioning to another, the polarization? Why are you afraid to be left alone? Because of what you'll discover? Because of the quiet? Because of the stillness? Why are you afraid to be left alone? Because who you think you might be when you look in the mirror? And you don't have to comment why, but I want you to ask yourself those questions. Find those answers within yourself. Why are you afraid to be left alone? And again, there you go, Libra. You are in the process of rebirthing yourself. Look at all that consciousness coming into your cranial space, into your field of awareness. Look at all of that coming to you. And right now, all you're focused on is this really messy, really painful delivery, this laboring. It's a labor of love. You are delivering into this world a new version of yourself this year, a version that is much more rooted in your heart space, much more in alignment with your purpose, with you, with what you deserve. That's a beautiful thing. This is what's waiting for you. This is what this year has in store for you. But before you get to there, you have to understand. Card number 23, defend to the end the worthwhile. You are worth the fight. You are absolutely worth the fight. What's going on is that Libra, for some Libras, you've been able to really convince yourself to fight other people instead of recognizing you are worth the fight, meaning allowing people to love you in such a way that helps you to understand your worth, that they see you as worthy. Allow yourself to block out the bullshit that you hear, the bullshit that perpetuates this fear of yourself, fear of being alone, fear of not being enough, fear of being the reason why life is so horrible. Yeah, you need to take accountability for your co-created portion of your life, but are you the reason anything is horrible? No, you're not. I'm sorry, but you don't have that kind of power. You can make yourself struggle more, but does it make things horrible? That's a perception. That's a perception. I know some people who are living very lavish lifestyles and they think, oh, this is horrible. That's horrible. You don't fucking know what horrible is. You haven't lived in a third world country. Horrible, that's a perception. So Libra, are you that lavish person who thinks everything is horrible because you haven't experienced the polar opposite of whatever experience you're having? To give you full clarity on the gravity of the word horrible, what exactly is horrible? And there you go. Maybe that's why you're experiencing all of this right now. Because these are the very things that are going to help you calibrate your scales. These are the very things that's going to give you the ability to recognize one of your scales is not functioning properly. It has things on it that need to be removed. You have to stop using the tear button, the tear function, and just clear off the scale completely, zero it out completely, so that you can begin balancing things again in an appropriate way. So card number 18, if you're able to do this, new experiences and possibilities are opened up to you. You then find yourself, yeah, you're exhausted, but you're also riding on a beautiful horse through the garden of life, able to rest and just notice the flowers and enjoy the essence of these blooms and blossoms. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe you need to experience the essence of these two things, where you experience this, you see the potentiality of that, and then you're immersed in it and you recognize, wow, life really can be beautiful. There really is more still left to offer. Life still has many things left to offer me. Now, Libra, you're going to be tested. You're so going to be tested. You've just been nonstop tested. The reason you've been nonstop tested is because you keep avoiding the lesson. Plain and simple. That is the only reason creation will continue to cycle around the same lesson, because you keep avoiding the lesson. And you have to take accountability for that. If you're going to avoid the lesson, it's going to circle back around. And the charge that it accumulates as it generates, as it circles back around, it's going to generate a larger charge. So when it comes and smacks into you again, it's going to be harder. And you avoid that, it circles back around and it's going to be harder and harder and harder and harder. And the next thing you know, you're living a life that seems to suck because it's just so hard. And you're tired because guess what? You're playing hopscotch, or not hopscotch. What is that? Double Dutch. Double Dutch. You've been playing double Dutch for however many years you've been alive. Just avoiding that rope, right? Avoiding that rope. Well, double Dutch is exhausting. And when you're exhausted, when you're depleted, when your soul is feeling very hungry for truth and acceptance and just peace of mind, you enter a state of hangry, where the things that you say come out in a way it shouldn't come out. The things that you see are interpreted in a way where it's not necessarily the truth of what's actually happening. You have to slow yourself down and listen for truth. Close your eyes, get very quiet. Listen for truth. Just listen. Just listen. Your soul is talking to you. It's been talking to you. It's not only has it been talking to you, it's been trying to cover your ears to block out the bullshit that you've been listening to. Because instead of listening to your soul, you're listening to bullshit. You're listening to your insecurities. You're listening to your distrust of the very people who love you, who want to help you. Granted, not all Libras have someone who is actually willing to help them. Some don't have anyone. Okay? Some don't. That's okay. You have yourself. That's absolutely okay. You have yourself. Maybe you don't have anyone around you to help you through this because you've used up all those lifelines. And now it's time for you to have no option but to be strong. So you can recognize you never needed those lifelines. You're strong enough to handle it. You never needed that lifesaver, that lifeboat. You're a fucking swimmer. Start swimming. Start remembering the greatness that you are. Start allowing yourself to truly live this life, okay? So card number 19, shift your energy. There you go. It's time to shift it. What are you looking for, Libra? You feel like you've lost something. What are you looking for? Look at her. She's looking for something. She's on all fours, looking really hard. What is she looking for? Yourself. You're looking for yourself. What's going on is that you're looking for yourself in other people. You don't have to do that. You can find yourself within yourself. And that's why it becomes real scary being alone, because you don't know what you're going to find within yourself. You're going to find you. Well, what else would you find? There's nothing in there but you. That's it. Just you. And if you start being more supportive of yourself and your journey, um, you'll begin to really shift things around. Okay, you'll begin to really, really shift things around. I don't think Libra is a bad um, person. I don't think you guys realize when you're doing things that might lead to like a self-sabotage type of moment. I think what happens is you have such a hard time listening. You have such a hard time listening to the whispers of your own soul. And instead of listening to the whispers of your own soul, you end up hearing the suggestions and the words and condemnations of people who really shouldn't have a say in your journey, you know? Um, and I'm finding the ones that love you enough to be very honest with you and try and help you recognize what's actually going on in your life, those are the ones that you don't want to hear the most. It goes back to avoidance. And this is not going to apply to every single Libra. It's not meant to. This is a general reading. Let's get you other cards. What time is it? There you go. There you go. I like this a lot. Okay. So this is the year you allow yourself to be renewed. This is the year you allow yourself to just slow down, allow yourself to see yourself for who you actually are, which is a good person that has struggled quite a bit because of avoidance of lessons. That doesn't make you a bad person at all, at all. So first you need to listen, and then you need to allow yourself to be renewed. After you allow yourself to be renewed, this is the year you're going to allow yourself to be influenced by things that create more energetic peace, love, acceptance. This is what you're doing. Accepting yourself as the lunar energy that you are, waxing and waning, going through phases, going through these stages where you want to be hidden and you almost fully disappear, only to come back full, beautifully bright. This is the year you're going to allow yourself to be influenced in this way. We're not allowing ourselves to be influenced in the old way anymore. That's old, okay? That's last decade. This is a new decade. Program this new decade in this way. Influence it in this way. Surround yourself with the people who will be honest with you, who will call you out on your bullshit in a way that grows you, not just shames you. Okay, so this is about recognition of patterns. Okay, recognize the patterns. Why are you very sensitive to criticism? Ask yourself that. Why are you sensitive to criticism? Why don't you want to hear the truth? I don't know why, but you have to get the answer to that so that you can begin to uncover the root of that sensitivity. That sensitivity exists for a reason. It's trying to bring your attention to something. Find out what it is. So the patterns, here we go. Patterns. You have to see what the patterns are. You have patterns that create potentiality of such abundance, so much support, so much beautiful, beautiful things for your life. The Libras that I know, they do this. They can create these cycles where like they are riding high on top of the world, like manifest, and it's beautiful. I'm like, look at you. And then I don't know what happens. It boggles my mind. It's not a condemnation. I'm trying to understand. I don't quite understand what happens, but all the Libras that I know, once they become aware that they're in a positive cycle, maybe it's the balance thing. They then do something or decide something that completely flips it around. And then again, it goes back to chaos, deficit, um, and dark feelings. And maybe that's just the cycle. Maybe it's just accepting the two halves of the coin, allowing it to keep flipping. That's how the energy flows, and that's just the movement. I don't know. But this is the year you have to become aware of your patterns, the way your patterns are expressed, noticing what your triggers are, noticing what it is that helps you to calm down and um, not take the patterns in such a way where you really allow yourself to embody it and identify with it. You are not your wound. That's another thing that I see Libras really struggling with. It's this identification with the wound. You begin to identify as nothing more than the wound. No, you carry the wound. You are not the wound. The wound is on you. You carry it. Okay? So that's another thing. That's another thing you probably need to make sure you really focus on this year. Recognizing when you are identifying with a wound rather than recognizing the wound for what it is and doing the necessary steps to heal that wound. So it's definitely a time for shifting. Okay. Shift your perception. Shift your perception. Allow yourself oh, Jesus. Allow yourself to connect with your core. This is about coming home to you. Okay? Come home back to yourself. Come home to yourself. Come back to your core. Dive deep into your trenches, into the trenches of your heart's oceans, and allow yourself to stay in center. Okay? Be centered in your truth. That's all you can do. Be centered in your truth and allow yourself to grow. So let's just quickly recap Libra. It seems like all hell is starting to break loose from before the end of 2019 all the way through to maybe February or March time. And around then, maybe, some of you will get tired of how things are going and you'll jumpstart a different cycle. It seems like things just keep happening in cycles for Libras. Oh yeah, I I really I really feel for Libras because some people will be like, oh, you guys are just sabotagers, and there's this part of me that's like they just really aren't aware. Like who would intentionally sabotage their life and intentionally choose to have a life that's so painful? I don't know anyone that would intend. I mean, you can put on a illusion that like, oh, you don't care, you're a gangsta, and yeah, no, I see past that. I see behind what's behind the eyes, and it's a sadness and a lack of understanding. Like, is this all I deserve? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is not all you deserve. You deserve so much more. And that's kind of what frustrates me is that I don't know how to help you see with clarity how much I see you deserving. I don't know how to do it because there's so much distortion from your scales being skewed. You have to clear that out. No one else can clear that out for you. Uh, if you guys were to ask me how you clear that out, I don't know. I don't have any. I don't have any suggestions because this is a lifetime of pain, cycle after cycle of disappointment, of almost like a sense of abandonment. Not all Libras experience this, but a large percentage do. It doesn't make you somehow less than the other signs, you know. Being able to acknowledge the things that you're struggling through empowers you. It doesn't lessen, it empowers. It doesn't take away from you, it empowers. The thing that takes away from you is when you don't want to look at what's going on. If that doesn't help you in any way, you're afraid. That's okay. Every single last one of us are afraid of something, of failure, of what we're going to see within us. Shit, I struggled through that till now. Till now, I'm still trying to work through my fear of who the fuck am I really? Who am I really? What am I really here for? I have an idea, but to me, that's just obnoxious. Like, really? You really think I'm going to do all of that? You really think I'm going to accomplish all of that? I don't think so. But you know what? I don't know everything, so I'll just flow with it. I'll just flow with it. And if my soul wants to actually deliver all of this stuff that it's saying is supposed to be happening in this life, I'll believe it when I see it. I'm game though. I'm game. I'll roll with the punches. And maybe if you take more of that mindset, and my mindset is not the most perfect, but it's something that's really helped me to overcome this really crippling fear I have of myself and my distorted view of my own greatness. And maybe that's what's going on for Libra. You have such a distorted view of what your greatness actually is that instead of recognizing it for the greatness that it is, you're somehow interpreting it as a weakness, as some guarantee to failure. It's not. I hate to tell you this. There's nothing guaranteed in life except change and death. Those are the two only things. I even said this in the other live stream. Those are the two only things that are guaranteed in this life, change and death. So release all the things that, all these perceptions you have, all these expectations, release it and start over fresh. Maybe that's what the bowl is. It's constructed of all these distorted views. Because if you take a glass bowl, like a Pyrex glass bowl, and you try and look at through the bowl, you're not going to have clear vision. It's going to be distorted. It's going to be bent and warped. What you see is going to be a warped image. And maybe that's what's going on. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I just know that this is a year where you're going to be challenged to grow in such a way that you never thought was possible. And you're going to get through it. You're going to grow. You're going to impress yourself. You're going to be pleasantly surprised at how you turn this life around. But nothing gets turned around until you process your grief and your anger. And what is anger but unrecognized, unacknowledged sadness? It's okay for you to admit you're sad. You don't have to tell anyone else. You could just admit it to yourself. But if you're going to refuse to even acknowledge that fact that something in your life has made you sad, and you never really processed it, you're not going to get anywhere. It's just, maybe you can, I don't know. But to me, and this is just my opinion, and who the hell am I anyways? You're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to heal. Because until you are willing to really look at yourself, you'll continue to identify as your wound. And that's huge, because if you continue to identify as your wound, anyone who comes along with the potentiality of helping you heal that wound is a threat to you. Because if you are that wound, the healing is the process of erasing your existence, your identity. And that is why you push all the people who actually care, who want to help you heal. That's why you push them away. For those that this resonates with, which it's not going to resonate with everyone. Thank God, it's not going to resonate with everyone. But if it resonates with you, it doesn't make you any less than the people it doesn't resonate with. At no point were you ever any less until you believed you were. So what are you going to change about your beliefs this year? And it's going to be a process. It feels like until March. It feels like you're probably going to be going through this back and forth until around March time, before you finally begin to accept that maybe it's time to let go of those beliefs. Maybe they're no longer serving you. Maybe you really aren't the wound. And then let me just see. Not March, but June. June feels very significant for some reason. I do see a beach line, like a coast, sandy coastline, the ocean. I see some very lighthearted celebration, um, like a shifting back into your heart space. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And that's around June time. For some, it seems in July, an opportunity might present itself. This will probably be a business opportunity, a type of opportunity that you've never been presented before, like an elevation of the different opportunities you've had before. But it's a big month, though. I don't know what. I don't know what. That's odd. From August forward, I don't see anything. I don't see any potentialities. Can you help me understand why? Oh, wow. That's deep. That's real deep. So I'm shown up until around July time, and I asked for clarification as to why. The sense that I get is that, Libra, it's time for you to begin writing your own stories, not just following the words and thoughts of others. It's time for you to begin really crafting your own stories, writing them and bringing them to fruition, breathing them into existence. And so it seems like your higher selves are leading you in July, where the potentialities are elevated. The creativity, the celebration, all of that is elevated. And what you do with that, it's like a turning point. I mean, the answer is going to be different for everyone. July time would be the turning point, and turning point in that, where is that? I put it away. The cycles. Did I put it here? I put it away. But it's the cycles, seeing the patterns, noticing that everything is going really good, and is that going to trigger you? Is that going to trigger you to then be like, oh my God, the wound, I am the wound, and the wound is disappearing. I'm going to disappear. I think that's what it is. I don't think that it's that you disappear. I think it's that your higher self, your collective energy, is gifting you with the potentiality of finally choosing for yourself. Are you just going to be the wound your whole life? Or are you going to allow yourself to identify with your truth instead? You have so much potentiality this year. All of us do. You have so much potentiality. You have the ability to kind of let go of all that crap you've been lugging around, not just from last decade, but pretty much from your whole life. I don't know. I'm really not that well versed in astrology and the different characteristics of the different signs. I'm not well versed in it. And I just keep getting this sense that Libra has very much struggled with its identity for a very long time, and that you don't let anything go. You're very good at hiding it, at avoiding the addressing of it, but you just never let it go. And you just put it in a bag and you carry it with you your whole life. Aren't you tired of that? I still have a few bags that I carry with me. There's no shame in carrying the bags. But aren't you tired of that? It's a lot for an entire lifetime of luggage. I'm sure that can get exhausting. And maybe that's what caused the cramp in your shoulder that skewed the scales. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Or maybe I'm misreading it. I don't know. I don't know. But this is the year you're going to find things out for yourself, Libra. This is the year. To me, it feels like you don't even really need to worry about the financial aspect, because whenever you need the funds, you manage to find a way to manifest the funds. And if that's truly the case, why aren't you manifesting more? Because you're so preoccupied with trying to remain as a wound, to remain with that identity of wound. You are not your wound, silly. You are not your wound. Manifest a better life. If you're very unhappy with your life, because I don't feel like your life is bad. I feel like there's some shitty things that have happened. There are things that any sign, it doesn't matter what your sign is, if it happened to you, yeah, you'd feel like life is shitty. But is it really? Is it really? Probably not. Probably not. It's the way you see it. And you can't see it clearly if you're wearing a filter that's outdated. You know, you don't need bifocals, and you're wearing bifocals because someone told you. And then that's one of the things that I notice the most about Libras. You guys are so very concerned about other people's perceptions of you. You know, that's one of the things you need to begin fortifying a little bit more. It's not a weakness, it's a sensitivity. Sensitivities are very often a sign of an elevation of consciousness. Stop screwing yourself by thinking, oh, it's because I'm sensitive and I can't. No, that's not a weakness. Shift your perception back to the truth. That's a sensitivity. Sensitivities are tied to elevated higher sensory perception. That's all it is. Look up Dabrowski's work on overexcitabilities. The very things, according to his work, and his work is highly respected by those who specialize in supporting and advocating the profoundly gifted. I'm talking about the 99.999 percentile of the human population. I'm talking about the Einsteins, those who have higher IQs than Einstein. Dabrowski's work beautifully explains your condition, the human condition with which you exist within. Dabrowski and his theory on overexcitabilities. What if that's it, Libra? What if the reason you struggle so much is because you're such a highly advanced consciousness, unaware of itself? That'd be some shit, huh? That would be some shit. So look into Dabrowski. See what his work is. See what his thoughts are on why you suffer. Because really, his work on overexcitabilities, it really perfectly explains your pain. It really perfectly explains your pain. Hold on. Let me find a link. And if you guys think that it's just like, oh, whatever, Mensa, the reason I found out about Dabrowski is because when my child was invited by Mensa to be a member, they sent a specialist over to me to talk about my son's needs for advocacy for school. And what was I looking for? No, stop. They sent a specialist over, and she started talking to me about all the things that that Dabrowski talks about. Here, Let me just give you this. It's Wikipedia, so kind of take it with a grain of salt. I can't see what I've typed. I can't see what I've typed, but there's a link. Check it out, read for yourself, and maybe you'll understand that there's nothing broken about you, that maybe you're a very highly sensitive, evolved consciousness, simply unaware, and therefore struggling through the shedding of the programming. That shedding is very painful. That shedding produces additional sensitivities, makes you feel very raw, very exposed, very vulnerable. And it's that very shedding that's necessary for you to uncover the truth of your true identity, which is an identity that is not connected to who you know yourself to be right now. Who you know yourself to be right now is nothing more than a compilation of other people's perceptions, of their opinions, of things they've observed about you. Things that aren't even fully truth, because Libra, you keep a lot of shit to yourself. You thought I didn't know. You keep a lot of things to yourself. I don't find you to be, I don't consider it secretive. I consider you very private, because you're so very sensitive. It kills you inside to think that someone else will hear the things that you've experienced, not understand, and condemn you. I don't need to condemn you. I already understand. So there are people out there who understand, who don't need to hear your story. They just need you to allow yourself to heal. That's it. That's it. And this is the year you're being gifted with the opportunity to begin this process for yourself. No one else can do this for you. I'm shown until July. I see celebration. I see tremendous, beautiful things happening for you. The first part of this year, I see it's hard. It's hard because you're finally allowing yourself to process the things that have hurt you to your core up till this point. You're finally allowing yourself to do it. That's a huge undertaking. It's not impossible, but it will challenge you. And that challenge, that's okay, because you're worth it. You're worth the investment in time and energy, focus and attention. You're worth it. So invest in yourself, okay? You want to heal so bad. That's the first part. Wanting it, wanting the healing. You will heal yourself. There's absolutely no reason you cannot heal yourself. None. Because the truth is, no one can heal you but yourself. People want to categorize me as a healer. I am not. I am not a healer. I'm a facilitator. I can facilitate your self-healing because your belief in me suspends your disbelief in yourself. That's the only reason I'm able to facilitate. Your faith in me suspends your disbelief in yourself. Let that sink in. I know my place and my role in this life. I am not a healer. I'm not above you. I don't have that kind of authority over you or your journey. You're simply gifting me temporarily with authority. You're suspending your own disbelief. And that's why I'm able to do what I do, because I understand this. Time for you to understand the gravity of who and what you are, what you can do for yourself, what you can do for other people. Allowing yourself to heal and letting other people witness this healing, 100% at 555, just saying. Allowing yourself to heal and people witness this, it frees them to heal themselves as well. That's a gift. That's a gift. Ain't that some shit? Not only are you a gift to yourself, you're a gift to other people. Let that sink in. Maybe that needs to be incorporated as part of your truth. Okay, so guys, please do give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe, turn on that notification bell. You guys know the freaking frequency. I will be back. I have a session. I won't be back for a while. I'm going to try and be back later tonight. I have to see if I did Aquarius, and then I'm going to do Gemini. And yes, I'm going to do Gemini because Gemini kept commenting that they're always last. So who am I to, disappoint you? I wasn't going to do Gemini last, but you keep saying you're last. Okay, let's do it. So yeah, I don't know if I did. Did I do Aquarius? I'll figure it out. Bye, guys.